Right, next game is Blues versus Moana Pasifika. New injuries for this one. You got no new injuries from the Blues. Moana has Ray Nuia, who had a concussion. He came on late and left relatively early from a pretty bad-looking concussion. I guess the only question around the Blues is going to be Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, but they basically said last week that he was fit and just surplus to requirements. They just didn't feel like they really needed him. So I can only take that as he's on the outer now that he's not hanging around. So why would they continue to put their eggs into his basket with him leaving? So I hope that's not the case, but geez, it was hard to see it any other way after he's definitely been their form 12. Tom has been solid, but he doesn't break the line in the game open like Tuivasa-Sheck does.
Yeah, look, I think you've probably read it right. Plummer's been good for sure, and I think that if he wasn't well, maybe wasn't doing well, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck does come back in, but he's been doing well enough to keep him out.
Yeah. Odds on this one, Blues $1.02, same as the Crusaders line. Moana $11. So of course the line is 24.5. You guessed it. The Blues, Akira has been on the bench for 2 weeks in a row. Segner's been exceptional, but it's Akira. So surely he starts at 6, doesn't it?
I mean, yes, maybe because they're versing Moana. Like, he's clearly not their first choice at the moment. I know he's come back from injury. He's been on the bench for a few weeks. They haven't rushed him back into start. So, you know, they've done this in the past as well. Maybe they don't think he's, you know, as fit or in the form to rush back in. But if he's going to get a start, this is a good game to do it and, you know, bring him back into that starting role. It is Akira. He will be an All Black, you know, later this year. So, he'll be in the squad. He is Akira. But yeah, look, he's just got to take his chance if he's there. We said, and we think that maybe he has been sluggish and maybe the fitness isn't there after returning from his injury. And I mean, whether that's enough for the Blues to want to keep him off that starting side to give him a bit of a kick up the bum, you'd think a World Cup is enough of a motivation, but yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah, Patrick Tuipulotu as well. We haven't heard anything. We know he flared his knee up. Don't know what that exactly means, but no word on a return either way from him. So we're assuming Sam Darry and Cameron Suafoa continues. I think obviously Tucker is the other option who I think he's had a couple of really good involvements, but I suspect that was before Sam Darry was fit early in the season. So I just think he sits behind those guys in the rankings more than anything.
He has been so good when
he hasn't been so good, man. He had one really good game and a couple of good other involvements.
You talked him up. He got a run, did really well. Yeah. An article came out saying he's been so good, like where's he been? And that they've found that he is.
Did you write that?
What?
Did you write that article?
Maybe when I was trying to flog him off for a trade or something. But yeah, no, he's been good. I hope we're seeing him involved. But look, the Blues...
He was on the bench last week, so I would think he gets minutes. But, yeah, I just think they really rate Sam Darry. Let's go back a few years ago when they pinched him from the Crusaders and he was an awesome buy. He's just been a bit injury-plagued, but he's an excellent player and has been playing so well. And I think Suafoa's been improving every game as well. So it's actually a fantastic 3 locks to choose from without, you know, essentially one of the leaders of the side, Patrick Tuipulotu, if he's out. That's it's not too shabby.
Be crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, but all in all, the Blues have remained pretty stable, especially in their backs with their selections throughout the year. Obviously, we had no Perifetta last week with Sullivan filling that 15 jersey. Can you remember why was Perifetta not there? Was it just a rest week? We thought
in his shoulder he was cooked, so he'll be gone for a while. Yeah,
so he's gone for a while. So Sullivan's still there in that 15 jersey, and probably no real other changes in the backs.
Yeah, that's right. And on the Moana side of things, look, I don't think there's really any big personnel changes for them. That's the scary thing. I think they actually have some of their strongest players out there. I think they're still missing the likes of, Sam Slade in the locks. Obviously, Kepu would be huge for them as a spiritual leader. But really, otherwise, I feel like they got most of their cattle back. Tamatini made his comeback off the bench last week, so it will be really interesting to see if he takes that first choice number 9 jersey or if Arianari can hold him off there. But not many changes I would expect. It's just how do they manage to get themselves in more games, because they're not doing it at the moment. I don't know if this counts as a home game because it's in Auckland, but there's actually going to be a crowd. So maybe it's a double home game, and maybe that's the one thing that is in their favour this week.
No, they're not used to crowds, so it can't feel like a home game. Look, for them, they've really got to shore up their discipline. Last week against the Rebels, look, they went down by 10 points. They scored, I think some points relatively late when the game was already, probably lost. But they had 3 yellow cards. They gave away 16 penalties. You do that against the Blues, and that's just, bulk points. They're going to kick it from anywhere if they feel like they need to, but more than likely they're just going to score tries off the back of it, walk you up the field, and they're so clinical that they'll end up taking points throughout that match every time you make those mistakes.
Yeah, look, it's definitely what I'm worried about in terms of blowing out. The line we said, it's 24.5. Have you got any thoughts on what the end result might be?
Look, if I do my deep analysis of how they've gone recently, I reckon, they come close against the Crusaders and a few other sides, but they let it slip against teams like the Highlanders. Look, I hope it doesn't blow out and become a massive shellacking, and that they feel there's a boost at home. And I'm going to say they'll lose by on point 24 points.
Wow. Okay. I think that it's going to be worse. I just can't really see them competing, to be honest. They should. I actually like so many of their players. I just don't think it's going to happen, but I'll go 29 points.
Yeah, look, I just hope more than anything.
Yeah, I'm with you.